Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Edna White. I am your host of Keeping It Real on Purpose. And I'm so glad today that we have a special guest by the name of Bea Donaldson. Did I say it right? Am I
You
saying it
did.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, that was too easy. I tricked myself out of that one. That was really easy.
Absolutely.
She has a love for natural therapeutics. She is a licensed massage therapist. And I know for me, involving therapy of that type with trauma is so important. And she loves
Mhm.
getting back to the essentials. There's so many things she can do, so many, facts that she could talk about in this, but she has thick, thick understanding and experience of grief and anxiety, depression. And she has the micro and the macro size benefits of the on the long run of all of this. So I'm really excited to learn about what it takes to be so naturally therapeutically inclined and a massage therapist. Welcome to the show, B.
Thank you so much for having me, Edna.
Oh, I am so excited to talk about this massage therapy.
Yeah,
And I know we talked pre-show about your history and experience with suffering religious trauma, which we are going to get together at another time about that because that is
it's a
love
whole
it.
other thing on its
A
own.
whole nother thing, right?
Yeah.
aren't you so glad that we're not so linear. We can kind of like connect in so many levels. Isn't it
Absolutely.
great?
I love it. Yeah.
It is
It
like
just webs out
marvelous.
too, like
Yes,
everything kind of coming together. So, because it's never
yeah.
just one thing,
Never,
it's
no.
always like a series of things
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
help
Yeah.
us sort of
And I love
experience
that. I
this.
love that part of
Hmm.
just, being able to talk to somebody and finding out the commonalities and be like, whoa, you did that? Oh wow,
Absolutely.
I did that. Oh wow. And it's
Absolutely.
so good,
Yeah.
to come into alignment with someone like that. So let's talk about,
Agreed.
your natural love of therapeutics. Tell me about that.
Yes. Well, it kind of started. So I got diagnosed with melanoma in
Okay.
2012.
Ooh,
And really, the only reason that my dermatologist at that time had found this spot that I had on my chest was because I went into her office I had a terrible reaction to an antibiotic, doxycycline. It just shut my immune system down. I became allergic to so many synthetic things.
got you.
I was even allergic to the color blue.
Oh wow.
Dispersed blue dye mix was what was listed on my allergies. And I couldn't even wear blue jeans. And I was like a girl from Iowa who grew up in blue jeans. It was
Right.
really hard to work around that. So it pushed me into the natural therapeutics world.
Okay.
And I could only
Sort of see it
use,
about yourself, making sure you
uh-huh.
good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I had surgery. It was a fast experience. And
Okay,
then
okay.
I just moved into the natural therapeutics world and I just fell in love with it because I'd always grown up around um, plants and herbs and we always canned and gardened and
Okay.
sort
Okay,
of the
wonderful.
upsides to my upbringing was that we really just took from the land and tried to use what we could grow. And
Mhm.
so it felt very natural to me to just move into that community. And
Right.
it was the things that I've learned in the last like decade plus. I mean, I could sit and talk about it all day, and just how helpful it was just getting back to basics and what I needed to do in order to just help myself. And um
Right.
yeah, yeah, and it really, I mean, for me it really only came down to like six things. So I'll kind of go through them like really quickly. Hydration. We're made
Right.
of like 76% water. How much
Of
water have you had
course.
today?
Yeah,
I don't know how
yeah.
many times I'll talk to people and I'm like, well, how much water have you had? And the response is always like, well, I could probably have a little bit more. It's like, yeah, give your body, I mean, you don't drive your car on empty and expect it to run perfectly. So
Right.
you can't do the same for yourself. You've got to replenish the water that you're losing. Next would just be, what have I eaten today? Like
Mhm.
we quite literally are what we eat.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
it's like those are the building blocks that we're made up
Even if
of.
we don't
Yeah,
wanna be, we are.
yeah, yeah. And some days I'm made up of donut holes in coffee, and that's okay. But every once in a while you do have to you have to remind yourself that like what you are replenishing your cells with is
Mhm.
literally what you are taking in. So
Right.
um and then sleep is so important. If
Oh
we don't
gosh.
get enough sleep, like
I
I'm
love
just an
sleep.
absolute
I love
monster. If
sleep.
I yeah, I can't function. I'm so fatigued. Like if I don't get enough sleep, it's just essential. Um how have your bowel movements been? you know
Ooh,
uh
that's a
it-
stick well, I no
I
pun
know.
intended, that's a sticky one.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant conversation we ever
No,
want
it's
to
not.
have. It's like, well, I don't want to talk about, like how my bowel movements are, but they're an important piece. And if you
Yeah.
can't get your bowels moving, then you're
Mhm.
going to feel bloated. Your digestion's just, if it's off, your brain's going to be off. Your
Ooh, that's
gut
good.
is your second brain.
Yeah.
So really, and sometimes I wonder if it's the first because
I'm gonna say yeah.
I I think so too. Because if my
Yes.
gut is off, then this one doesn't work either,
Yeah.
and everything is just out of balance, and so I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, the next would just be
Cross talking you for a minute. Is
yeah,
there,
yeah.
as a massage therapist, is there something to help you? Do you have a massage of some type or a recommendation that we can do to kind of get the bowels moving? Is there
Oh,
something that
yeah.
we
I
could
mean,
do or you
I
do?
absolutely. You can literally just go into your abdomen and just massage it. And if you massage it in like a clockwise motion, that's the same
Yeah.
motion that
Mhm.
your digestive system moves. And
Really?
sometimes
Are
I
you
will
adding
just sit.
pressure? Are you
mm,
adding pressure? What are you doing?
just a little bit, as long as it's not uncomfortable.
Okay.
If it hurts, don't do it.
Okay.
But you know, but just getting it to move a little
Okay.
bit. And sometimes if I'm having like a really bloated day, I will
Mhm.
just sit with like the palm of my hand over my umbilicus, my belly button, and
Okay.
just sit and just kind of hold it
Okay.
and and just kind of care for it, nurture it, tell
Okay.
it like it's okay. I'm sorry that I've been like really stressed out
Right.
today. I'm sorry that I
Talk to it.
haven't,
Right, right.
given you enough water or
Right.
enough like healthy greens to help push everything down. Like
Yeah.
I will work on that. And I feel like the body, because of here, I feel like I'm diving into like more of a physics side, but because our body
Mhm.
can hear us, then whatever we
Yes.
say to it, it's going
I
to
do believe that.
vibrate. Yeah,
Yes.
it's going to reverberate through all of our
Yes.
cells. It can hear us,
Yes.
So I feel like if we talk to it in a gentle way, I always
Yes.
try to remind people like, how would you talk to your best friend? If your best friend was hurting, you wouldn't talk to her in a mean
Right.
way. You would try to be compassionate and loving. So
Right.
do that to yourself. Your body's the same way. It wants to hear good things from you. So
Exactly.
let's give it that. And a lot of it is just movement too. Like that's number 5. How have my movements
Okay.
been? Have I danced? Have I stretched? Have I walked? Have I exercised? Whatever you've got
Mhm.
to do. Sometimes it's literally just getting the sillies out, shaking yourself out. We do that with elementary students. Like, okay, come on, we've all got to like shake the sillies out. I don't
Yeah.
think we ever lose that. I think we always have this. I've got to shake my sillies out. I need to
Yeah.
stomp, and
Yeah.
and sometimes I think that's why kids like have tantrums or adults too.
Of
Um,
course. Of
that we just
course.
need to stomp
We
that
need to
energy
just or
out.
just like dance in place or move in place.
Yeah,
I make it
yeah,
a daily thing to first to honor my body, like you said.
Yeah,
I am youthful. I am young. I'm touching my time. I'm youthful. I'm young. I appreciate
absolutely.
you for putting up with the extra weight.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All of these
It's like
things I'm
we have to
talking to.
thank it for, I mean, because the
Yes.
body is really amazing. I mean, it can
Mhm.
withstand and adjust to so many different
Yeah.
things. And it is just fascinating. It's been my favorite part of body work, just seeing like the different traumas that people have been through and how their
Mhm.
body has adjusted to
Right.
just keep them upright. And
Mhm.
it's so, yeah, it's a really cool thing. And
Yeah.
the last one would just be like, when was the last time you really laughed?
Oh, wow.
I think
That's
laughter
good.
is a really big thing. And,
It
it's like
is.
when I've been in the throes of grief, I remember the first time that I really laughed, I thought, wow, how long has it been? Like,
Right.
since I've really laughed, and it's important. It's like, but
Yes.
that's another part of the
Yes, it
vibration
is.
and
So
moving
important.
things. So just movement
Mhm.
is just key.
Yeah. And
But
and and you make a valid point as we become adults, and I notice this even in my own life. When you get to 16, things seem to get very, very, very serious, and then
mhm,
piling on as things go on, you get really serious,
absolutely.
and there's not room for laughter. And often with my
No.
clients, is probably with yours as well. There's no laughter. They don't know when they hear a joke, and when they hear something that might be funny, they fake laugh. So it's like
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
mirage of whole things that laughter is gone. I make it a
It
my
is.
business to laugh. I don't care what it is.
Absolutely.
Every
Yeah.
day, like belly laugh. I'm not talking
Mhm.
like I'm talking like
Like
complete
full
belly.
on, yeah,
Yes,
shaking your
complete belly
body,
laugh.
trying to get it
Yes,
out. Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
you know what? We need to do that, not with we need to do it with other people, but we need to make that a thing that we're laughing even by ourselves.
Oh,
Just
absolutely. Yeah. I still watch like America's Funniest Home Videos
yes.
and like Wipeout and shows like that because I really just
I have
like
my medicinal movies that I go to when I want to like crack up
yeah,
laughing.
absolutely. Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
great. It's totally great. I love it. So you guys, you heard this is, she gave you five good things to lean on. And I think as
Mhm.
adults, we don't laugh enough and we don't watch our poops. And that's one
Mhm.
thing that's so important. My gut was always telling me things, and whenever you're allergic to some foods, and I'm gonna tell you, I learned this the other day, and I was like totally shocked. So my nose started running after I ate something, and I was like, "What is that?"
Mhm.
So that's not normal. That's just
Yeah.
not normal. It's allergic reaction to something.
Clearing it
So
out.
everything up here gets it first, right?
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
when it goes here, disturbance completely happens. So of course,
Oh
as
yeah.
soon as I noticed that, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be sick." I'm just, I just knew it. I just knew it, and
You're like, oh gosh, the
my
signs are
gut
here.
literally told me like, not
Mhm.
gonna happen. And
Yeah.
it when it gets disturbed, it's agitated from something. And I
Yeah.
think we need to pay a lot of attention to what we put in our mouths,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I tell
Yeah.
my mom's 83, she's 83, and I tell her, I said, "Mom, we no longer just live to eat. We no, we no longer eat to live. We live in a way that we have to now eat the way we need to in order for us to live.
Yeah.
We eat in order for us to live longer."
Mhm.
So, and then she was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, we just can't eat the stuff we ate when we were 18 because we're not 18." And I said,
No.
"No, you're 80. You're past 18. Reverse, okay?
I can't eat
So
the
you
same
have to
things
eat
that I ate.
other
I mean,
things that help
it's
you."
mhm.
You
Yeah.
know?
Well, and that's just that's just how it goes, but
Yeah.
the body's language is touch. It is feeling.
Oh, that's good.
So it
That's
will show you in its own language,
yes.
and sometimes it's painful,
Yeah.
sometimes it's funny, but it's just
It
That's the only
speaks.
way it knows
The
how to
body
express it.
speaks. The body speaks.
It
And if we
does.
listen to it and if we pay attention to it, it will tell us a lot of things to avoid, a lot of things
Hmm.
not to do again, and a lot of things to do again. But we
Absolutely.
don't, we don't pay attention. I'm telling you,
No. And
I'm
sometimes
so
it's
into
really, really subtle.
yeah,
Like you really have to kind of put in some effort for it in
yes,
order to notice,
yes,
just the small things. Like I didn't, uh, I guess this is maybe like 12 years ago.
yeah,
I figured out that I'm not allergic to strawberries in the way that I will go into anaphylaxis.
right, right,
But my body reacts to it in a way that my joints feel inflamed.
yeah.
And I thought, I love strawberries. What are you talking about? Like that is, and at the
I
time
love
I was living
strawberries.
on an organic farm and I was like growing everything. And so, I walked out, watered everything, took a handful of strawberries. By 11 o'clock, I felt just like stiff. And I was in my 20s then. So
Wow.
I thought, there's no way that I should be
Yes, there
feeling like
is.
this. And it was sad to have to give up I can still have them every once in a while.
Yeah,
Same with potatoes, unfortunately. That they're just not, it's just not something that can be a part of my daily diet, but it
yes,
doesn't mean that I
exactly.
have to give it
Give
up
it up. Yeah.
completely, and
You have to
everyone's
have
diet's
things
going to be a
in
little different.
moderation.
So
Moderation, right? Moderation.
yeah, exactly. With everything. Yeah. Cause
Mhm.
you can definitely have like too much water
Oh, yeah.
even. So,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's
Yeah, you definitely
everything has
can.
to be on that middle line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That balance. I don't know if there's a balance line, but that, take things with moderation. And, now that we're talking about this, just really pay attention to your body. Just pay
Hmm.
attention. Pay attention.
Hmm.
I told you, like, when my nose was running and I was like, I ate
Right.
something and my nose is running. This is not normal. This is not normal. So I
Yeah.
started to break
It's
down.
good
What
that
did I
you
do?
notice that though, because
Right.
a lot of times like we get so busy in our day to day and with
Yeah.
everything going on in the world right now, like it's easy to do that.
Yeah.
So we tend to just push it away. And then that's usually when painful things come in
That is
to like
correct. That
stop
is
us in
correct.
our place. We either get sick
That is
or
correct.
something, something happens. Sometimes it's outside of
Yes.
us that it just
Right, that you
is
can
at
do
us
anything
because the
about.
universe is
Correct.
just trying to tell us like, hey, I need you to slow down. I
Yeah,
need you to just like
yeah,
focus
mhm,
on this handful of things,
yeah, yeah,
and just stick to
yep,
that.
that's
And
correct.
yeah,
I was talking I was thinking about when we react emotionally, some when issues come up, we're gonna go to that. So when issues come up in our life, and it could be about grief, it could be about, something drastically changing our lives, right?
yeah.
And we fawn
Hmm.
from that, and
Hmm.
that's a body's response. Can we talk about that in the therapeutic area?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the body does what it's supposed to
Right,
in order to protect itself.
right,
And it thinks that it's in danger because it is presented with a threat. And
yes,
so it wants to do whatever it can to guard us against it. And
right, right,
sometimes it's not as much of a threat as, maybe we've had in the past. Sometimes it's like a trigger and it's
right,
like really have to just
yeah,
like sit with those things. I think that a lot of times when like you get into those panic modes because everything is just so overwhelming.
it's
That's when I like
overwhelming,
to
yeah,
go back to
mhm,
like the 5 things because it's like, okay, what can I do in this moment right now?
gotcha,
Because everything seems so chaotic. I can sit down for a minute and have a glass of water. I
yeah,
can sit and I can just like stretch my legs out in front of me. I don't have
right,
to do a yoga class. I don't have to go
right,
anywhere. I don't have to do anything. You can just sit there.
yes,
Sometimes I will literally just go and lay down on the flat on the floor and
right,
just stare at the ceiling like, okay, I just
yeah,
needed those like
yeah,
few minutes.
grounding, it's grounding you, it's
Mhm.
really grounding you,
Mhm. Cuz our body needs that. It
yeah,
needs time to just like decompress and it needs to be told especially in situations that are triggering
yes,
that you're no longer in that traumatic situation anymore. So it's okay. We're in a safe space. And I feel like when I'm working on someone and they have had a traumatic experience and have had some type of alteration to their body as a result of that, I have to put that intention there and say, like, you are in a safe place right now. It's okay to relive that a little bit because you're safe here. You're not going to have the same experiences. And so it's okay to let it go. And it gets hard for, you know, because there's different body parts that carry emotions. Our shoulders, our neck is very much.
They're the first, I think. They're the first part. They're like,
they're carrying everything, right? The whole weight of it is just right here. And it's just holding down. And everyone has they have so much tension that trying to like release that, it's like, well, it's more than just tension. It's sorrow. It's pain that's just sitting right here, and it's trying to like protect everything underneath so that it doesn't
tightens up so that it doesn't.
It holds it, and then the muscle tries to become a structure. So it's like we have to like talk to it and remind it, like, hey, you're soft tissue. I need you to be soft. You know,
that is so true, because I have this well, I don't know if it's a ritual, but a thing that I do, and I do a lot of woo things, you know, woo, and I have this thing, and I'll look at I'll seek the energy, and I do this, and then I put my hands together, and it's like I'm making this energy, and wherever I'm feeling bad at, I said, I feel I'm healing. I feel better. And I talk to that, and I'm telling you, it freaking works.
It does. It does. It's weird. It's so weird. I remember like the first time that I learned about this, I thought, okay, this is crazy. Like this doesn't make any logical sense to me. And there's a therapy that I like to do called polarity therapy, and it balances like the positive and negative aspects. And it sounds crazy. And I joke with my students that I have spent most of my career trying to prove that therapy wrong. And it is right every time. And I am so happy about it. I'm like, I don't know why putting one hand here and one hand, you know, on the opposite works. I don't know why it works, but it does. Our body has like a cross diagonal thing.
I don't know what that is either. But
exactly.
Yourself, oh my gosh. That really it calms me down. So when I find myself getting mad about something, it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. We're okay. This is good. Yeah. Or like when you injure something, like I've taught my son since he was little that you know, because he's a little boy, very, very vibrant, you know, active child, and he would fall down and injure himself a lot. And I would tell him, hold the part that hurt, hold your knee and tell it, I'm really sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was just letting, you know, everything get away from me, and I'm sorry, I'll be a little bit more careful. And then he would feel better. And I laughed thinking like, okay, I gave him that advice, but I didn't like really take it to myself. Like I need to do that with like my heart when I'm trying to be a little more vulnerable and it's not reciprocated well, and something I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Like we tried. That was good. You did a good thing there, you know, and just talking to, because I think our body really just wants to be noticed, and it wants us to
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it needs more gratitude.
It does. I'm telling you, I had a very bad accident, and I remember like caressing where they said, "Oh, you're gonna have, you know, arthritis," and all. I was like, "No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that. I just think I'm not having that. I don't know what you're talking about."
No.
And even when I'm feeling a little crampy, not having that. That's not there. But I know I learned to manage all that through what I eat. if that makes sense. I'm
Absolutely.
learning
Yeah.
that, what fruits are good that, manage pain, what fruits are good for joint issues. I'm
Yeah.
learning all of that you grew up with. I didn't, I grew up with it, but I was too young to even notice it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just I'm learning to live to eat, eating to live.
Mhm.
I'm learning eating to live now.
Yes.
I'm learning all these new things that you really know about, and you are applying because of the therapeutic part of you. That there's so many things we can do
Oh, so
outside of medication, and that
yeah.
leads me to our next conversation is medications. We're a
Mhm.
medication world now, and we need to start to think about holistic things, especially someone like you. You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
coming to someone like you, there's people that say, "Oh, I don't like to be touched," and I said, "Then how are you in this world? Because you had to get touched to get here." I don't
I
get
know.
it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I always kind of joke with them too. Like, I don't really either, like the irony of being a massage therapist and not liking to be touched.
right, right.
I see it,
Mhm.
but I understand that it's an essential part of my well-being and I need
Right,
it. And medications, I think can be really helpful
right,
in some situations. That they're
right,
not always ideal long term
right.
because there's so many parts of them that can be detrimental to our vital
Other part,
organs. Hmm. But I know that I know that they are really needed for some
yeah,
situations,
absolutely. No,
but
I'm not saying all situations. I'm saying
no.
some. I think that we need to be talking about what could work holistically first, and then
Hmm.
going if that's the only thing that could,
Right.
happen.
Well, and they're
Then
really
we'll
just going to
right,
mask a symptom.
right,
And a lot of times, like we want to get, and there are some people that's all they want to do, and
yes.
and that's
You can't fight
that's
against that. Yeah, you can't fight
that's
against
their
that.
life. That's
Yes,
okay,
yes,
but for those of us that really want to get to the root of the issue and help it out, there's
yeah.
a lot of ways that we can do. I mean, it's going to be different for everybody, but
Oh, yeah,
the starting with some of our basics,
yeah,
just being hydrated enough, eating well, like some of
right.
those take years to really get underway. And I
Yeah,
try to, I've got like
it
a
does. It's so stinking hard.
it, yeah,
Especially
and I
the
try to
hydrating part. The
I still do
hydrating
it
part.
every day. I
Woo!
mean, I still, like, just this week was like running around. I'm getting ready to go visit my family
Uh-huh.
tomorrow, and so I was like had this day where I was just frantically running around trying to get some things together, and I sat down and was like, we haven't had any water. When was the last time? Has it been 2 hours since we've had water? Well, there we go. That's our problem, And like my son knows it too. Like when I get into like modes in our house, he'll just come and set a glass down next to me. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I needed that. Like
That's
it's,
a good one. That's really good.
have I
That's
had too much
super
coffee today?
good.
I've
That's
not
good.
had
That's
too
a
much
good one.
coffee. Yeah,
I like that one. Just
So,
come and sit it
but
down
I feel like it also
nonchalantly.
helps.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like it also helps take the pressure off
yeah,
of
yeah,
us, that like there's something that we need to be like
yeah.
something big that we need to be doing. So most of the time, no, it's a lot of small things that
Mhm.
will add up, because a lot of times that's what pain is. It's a lot of small things added up over time that have
Right,
led to one big injury.
right.
And you know
And we
we're
don't
no
want that.
different.
Now,
No.
how can, you know, your specialty, and I know we pre-show we talked about myofascial. I love that concept. Can you explain
Hmm.
that,
Yeah.
to the audience?
So fascia is just a layer that surrounds our muscles, our organs,
Mhm.
our veins, and our nerves sit inside of that. And it's
Okay.
really, really sticky. But like if you ever Google it and
Right.
Google like fascia under a microscope, it is so cool. It looks like a crystal web, and it
Okay.
is just holding everything together.
Hmm.
And it is doing a really, really good job, sometimes too good of a job. And so you have to manually go in there and break it up. And my myofascial teacher explained it once as the scaffolding left over on a new building. So like say you got cut on your arm, and inflammation came, collagen came, they did a repair, it's all good now, but nobody came to move it out of there. Nobody got a massage. Nobody sat there and tried to like break up the scar tissue. So now you've got, the scaffolding left over. You've got trash collecting. You've got everything else, and nobody there, even like a big wind could come and knock some things away, because sometimes injections are helpful to get a lot of inflammation down, but you still need the manual work for someone to go in and break that tissue up. And it's really not that much pressure. People always think like, oh, I need like a deep tissue massage. We're only so thick, like really, we're not, I mean, it's like millimeters, that we're how thick our skin is. So really all we need to do is just get to that pressure of the fascia. And the fascia is like, it's that Newtonian physics that if you push too hard into it, it's going to harden up and we're not going to get anywhere. It's not budging. It's like standing firm right there, doesn't want to budge. But if we ease into it a little bit and wait for it to soften, like if we hit a point, say you've got a knot, I always have knots in my neck, and if I hit a point on it and I feel it push back, then I can stop there and wait for it to soften and then push into it more. And you can do that anywhere on your body. I always do that like in my calves because I have big calves from swimming, and so like they're really hard, and I don't like letting massage therapists get into them. I'm like, ooh, sorry, it's the one place that I really just don't want. I guess I've got trauma in there, but stored way down that far. But it's really like fascia is so cool, and so just study it. It's one of those like fun things that I feel like I just keep learning new things about it all the time. And every person that I work on, I learn something new and like a new way of getting it to move. Cause it will tell you which direction it wants to move. It will tell you like to go deeper or just stay right where it's at. And that's all that it wants for today. So yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
So tell us what bit of information would you give or empowering information that you would give in the way of what you do as a licensed massage therapist to the audience?
Like how to get in touch with me, or
just in general, what they could do. Is it what are some wise information? Should they get one massage once a week? What do you recommend? And then tell us where to look for you.
Yeah, I would recommend reflexology to almost everyone. Someone that would do hands, ears, face, and feet. That is going to be, especially if you really don't like being touched all that much. Reflexology is going to be one of the absolute best things that you could do. I would definitely recommend acupuncture. I'm a little biased because one of my best friends is an acupuncturist and she's phenomenal. And so I would recommend like,
how often would you go to an acupuncturist or a reflexologist?
I think it really just depends on what you have going on. It's like if your health is starting to stress you out, then I would probably go more often. But if you are already, someone who's kind of been on this path and you know what to do, and it's just like a maintenance thing, I would recommend less. But I've had people that, you haven't had a massage in 4 years, like, oh gosh, I got my work cut out, like, okay, I'm not going to be able to get through all of those years in 1 hour, but it's like, we can try.
Okay.
So the frequency of it would really just depend on like how much
Right.
pain you're
Right.
in, and really like what you can afford. Because unfortunately,
Yeah.
our insurance companies, our healthcare just doesn't think,
Yeah.
massage is considered one of those luxury items that we don't really need, but it is. It's like we
It's,
need that
we
work,
need
and
it. Yeah.
I think most of our issues are soft tissue. So
Most
really, if
definitely.
people could get massages more often, I'm
Mhm.
sure that in many states there's massage schools, and they usually have a clinic attached to them,
Mhm.
so the massages are a little bit cheaper.
Right.
And granted, you're getting it from a student, so
Right.
like expecting that they're going to be able to solve all of your
That's really great
problems is a little
information.
unrealistic. But
Mhm.
but most of the time the students are really great, and they're there because they just want to help people, and often they have been through things themselves,
Right.
and have, I mean, that's how I got into it. Is I had cancer surgery. I've
Uh-huh.
got like a little scar here, and I used to be totally numb in my whole chest for a year and a half, and my surgeon just kind of, sorry, I mean, your cancer's gone, so good luck. And I was like, okay, but this is so painful. And I'm so stubborn that I refused to accept that was so between like massage and
Right.
acupuncture and this
Right.
really concentrated cannabis oil that I put on it, it really opened everything up. And now I have feeling and movement, and I'm not
Gotcha.
stuck, and the scar is so much better. And so it's possible,
Yeah.
just how
Awesome.
stubborn can you be with
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this
Yeah,
is so great. Well, Bea, thank you for being on the show. You gave us some great information. You gave me some. So I used to me was right. I
good.
was writing, right? You gave me
Thanks.
some
Yeah,
information.
good.
I'm really excited about where you're going in your life and also what you've given our audience.
Thanks. Oh, I'm
Thank you so
happy
much
to.
for being here. Where can we look for you on, on the World Wide Web? How can we find you?
Yeah. So my author page, or my book, is just at the Sarah Dwin series on Instagram.
Okay.
Um, I really don't have. I really need to be better at this. I'm kind of like old school, that I just like to write things down. But I am putting together some classes with my best friend, who's the acupuncturist.
Right. Okay.
She's Dr. Jinlin Silva, and she's at Gombe Wellness.
Mhm.
And we're here in Albuquerque, but we're putting together some classes, and we're going to try and like tape them and put them, out onto
Awesome.
the web, so that they're a little bit easier for people to find.
Oh,
So,
that's good. Awesome.
yeah.
Well, we thank you, B.
Yeah.
Donaldson,
Thank
for being on
you.
the show. Thank you so much. Listen, guys, so I hope you got something out of what we talked about today with the world-renowned licensed massage therapist who just is amazing. Gave us some great things to work on and food for thought. And remember, what she said is, you know what? You're your best investment. Invest in yourself. I think
Mhm.
massages are investing in yourself,
Yeah.
investing in longevity and health. This is
Yeah.
Edna White, your esteemed host of Keeping It Real on Purpose. Bye for now.
Bye.